Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a drill. It's the B.O.B. bounce. And it's about to get real. Let's go. It's about to get real. Let's go. It's about to get real. It's about to get. It's about to get real. All my blessed people. Report to the dance floor. All my blessed people. Report to the dance floor. All my blessed people. Report to the dance floor.
What you about to learn?
All my blessed people. Report to the dance floor. All my blessed people. Report to the dance floor. All my blessed people. Report to the dance floor. Step, 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 step up. Backstand still, matter of fact. Shake. Everywhere you look, you got a blessing on the way. Step up. Backstand still, matter of fact. Shake. Everywhere you look, you got a blessing on the way. Turn it out to the right. Clap, clap, step up and watch God. Step back and watch God. Turn it out to the left. Clap, clap. It's a new direction with a brand new blessing. Step up. Backstand still, matter of fact. Shake.
This is a story about a little girl who learned to say yes to herself unapologetically. The She Said Yes to Herself Unapologetically platform is here to motivate, encourage, and empower you. The little girl had dreams of becoming a playwright. Motivational speaker. And best-selling author. When the little girl finally realized she had slept on herself and her God-given abilities, she grew up and became all of these things. Now she's helping others to say yes to themselves. And she wants to inspire you to say yes to yourself too. A Yes to Herself platform and Trivia's Inspirational Radio across all available social media platforms. The truth, lyrics, and vocals were performed by Tyler Brown.
All right. Come on, guys. It is an amazing Tuesday, and I have some of my fabulous, amazing females that I just absolutely love and adore in the building with us on tonight. I just have to say this real quick. Yes, that is my niece, Tyler, killing it on those vocals. So I had to just speak that out real quick. Yes, Tyler Brown wrote those lyrics and she definitely sang them. So we have an amazing a group of people who stopped by tonight to talk about She Said Yes to Herself. And so I'm just going to say a little bit about each of them really quickly. All right. And so we have Dr. T.R.I.V.I.A Payne. She is the CEO and founder of Trivia's Inspirational Radio. She is a best-selling author, mom, activist. She has so many businesses. She has a non-for-profit. I could just really go on and on about Miss Trivia, but everybody just welcome Dr. Trivia and let's give her a little bit of love, ladies. All right. Dr. Trivia, and she's in Malta. She's in Maryland, Baltimore. All right. And also we have Miss Monique Aldridge over here. Now, I'm just tell you right now, not only is she an amazing woman and mom, but she is also like the math whiz. Come on, ladies. She's got that new math kind of vibe. She got that looking. Did y'all see that flyer? How she was okay. It's that new math. That new math be new math, and so she is going to be able to help people out with their needs if they have. I guess they need tutoring or help understanding math, and she's the woman to go to. Let's go ahead and give Monique some love, ladies. And she's located in the beautiful state of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Let's go to our fabulous author Sandra Brown Linston and our girls all the way over in Sweden. Yes, wow. She is an award-winning author, an accomplished playwright, and she's actually released her second book. We're going to ask her a little bit about that today when we open up for a little discussion. So let's give Miss Sandra Brown Linston a big round of applause. Yes. Now, if y'all like to eat, like I like to eat, then you have got to, my girl right here. Her name is Guadalupe Wise. This girl is killing it, killing it. Literally, true story. I met her at a pop-up shop. She was selling chimichangas. And if you know me, I'm very funny. I'm very picky about what I eat and how I eat it. When I tell you girlfriend can cook, girlfriend can cook. My daughter was eating my food, my kids. I had to go take another order and drive up to Waukesha to go get some more just because her food is banging. So y'all please give my girl, she is the owner of Mamacita Mexican Soul LLC. Give her some love, Guadalupe Wise. And last but certainly not least, we have author Jacqueline Cox. She is an amazing author. She's also a member of BWA, which also Sandra is too. She is the CEO of Classy Defined. She is also the visionary for Young Save Leaders. She wears multiple hats. She's also representative of Westgate. So let's give Jacqueline Cox some love. Okay. All right. So first of all, before we get into the book, let's just have a little bit of girl talk, okay? So let's start with Sandra. Sandra, you just dropped your new book this week. And so tell us a little bit of details about the book and what was the inspiration behind it.
Well, this is a sequel to my first book, which was Life of a Firefly. And this one, it won like 9 awards, different for fiction. And so I wanted to follow up and finish up her story, Sandy Forte, which is a little bit about me, but I fictionalized it a lot. So the second one. And so, yeah, and it's about her summer as a 13-year-old. And it's pretty exciting.
I love it.
So I'm really looking forward to it. But right now we had to go and revamp it. Like I told you guys last time I was here, because of they posted the wrong one. They published the wrong one in this book. And so the new one is coming out, drop on Amazon in a few weeks. So I'm looking forward to that.
Love it. And so why don't you tell people how they'll be able to pick it up once the book does drop?
I'm sorry, you're breaking up. Could you say that again? I didn't hear it.
Sure, I said, can you tell people how they can get your book once it does drop?
Oh, yes, it's going to be on Amazon, and then the ebook is going to be on Barnes and Noble. So, yeah.
I love it.
For right now.
So you guys have to get the book. The first book was amazing. I haven't read the second book yet, but I was just captivated by the first book. It was an amazing read. I even took it with me to the Outback, and I couldn't decide between the chicken Alfredo or the book. I was just between the two, and I was just reading. So I ended up taking a picture in between the two. So yes, the book is fire. It's fire.
And the new book that's coming out is fire too, because my son was the beta reader, so I had to help him read it. So Imperfectly Perfect Summer was a great book. So I got to read the first one, and you got to read the second one. So we should just wow. And then,
come on. But I'm going to send you a copy. You know, yours is in the mail, Jackie. So that's for Jaden, because he's such a great beta reader. And I hope you guys can read that one together like you did.
Well, I'm definitely going to get in on a book myself, too. So we're going to all have to catch up and get the book and then talk about that one of these weeks, too. All right, then. So, Guadalupe, please tell the people how this food became so fire. I mean, like I said, I'm picky. And people who know me, they know real life. I'm not playing. I'm picky. And I can't eat everybody's food. But your food, when I tell you authentic, is good. I mean, the reason why I stopped in her line was the first place was because she had such a long line of people who were consistently going up to her thing. And I'm like, well, let me just go check it out. Then when she said she had chicken chimichangas, I'm like, okay, I got to try it. But I only got one. I only got two. I'm like, I got to go back and get some more. Like, they're just addictive like that. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what kind of really inspired, your cooking.
So I have to give my mother credit. All while we were growing up, she had that side hustle. We were all helpers. She supplied all of the South Side, like in the 70s and 80s, with tamales. So we had our own little Mexican tamale factory at home. Everybody had a job. So I didn't start until later on in life. It wasn't my thing. I didn't really like to cook. And I guess until I got older and missed my mother's cooking. I mean, she's still alive, but you can't always ask your mom to cook for you. So I started just remembering how things tasted and putting them together. And how I started selling, I was working a call center. We were doing debt collection, and nobody would want to leave for lunch. And I just saw all this money, and I was like, you know what? And that's how it started. That's how Mamacita started. I started bringing in dinners and making money off top of my paycheck, and it just went crazy. So I'm sorry.
First of all, I'm just trying to tell y'all real talk. No, I'm saying if my reception keeps going bad, I'm gonna switch and go to a different device. But I'm saying the food is fire. I would not get on this to say her food is fire if it was not. I was like, okay, the food is fire. You have to have it. So tell people what are some of your specialties? What are some things that you love to cook? And also how they can purchase orders from you.
So right now I'm just doing small events for catering, like baby showers, birthdays. I did something for Christmas. So my Christmas was catering, but it was happy for me. I was happy to do it. You can always inbox me, or I can give out my number, and you can always contact me that way. I have a Facebook page. It's Mamacita's Mexican Soul. You can look me up there. And my specialty, I guess I would say the chimichangas. Those kind of went crazy. But I make everything. I make the rice, the beans, enchiladas, tamales, birria, tacos, all of it. Yeah.
Girl.
What city are you in?
Thinking about it.
I am in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm actually looking into doing spices and my own brand for like tortillas, cheeses, and doing YouTube so that you can cook with Mamacita.
I love it. You definitely should.
Yes.
I'm gonna try it, but it ain't gonna taste like yours. I'm still gonna have to buy some. So if you're in the Milwaukee area or surrounding areas, then you guys need to holler at my girl Guadalupe. She has her Facebook page, Mamacita's Mexican Soul. Make sure you check her out. Someone did ask Sandra, how much is your book?
My book is $9.57. So yeah. I try to price it reasonably because when you're a first-time author and nobody really knows who you are, you don't want to price it too high because, people get scared. They get scared. But but this price is pretty much affordable for everybody.
Love it. Also, Guadalupe, we do have another question. Do you sell your spices?
Not yet, but I am working on getting that worked out. So that's something that's coming up for Mamacitas.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so let's get over here to Miss Jacqueline Cox. Jacqueline, first of all, you got your own show, Listen Linda, in the waiting room, which I just so happened to be a part of on this past Sunday and had an amazing time. You are just released one book. You're in the process of getting ready to release another. Just really tell us what really provides the inspiration behind all the different things you're doing, and what are you really most passionate about what you're doing right now?
I'm passionate about everything. The passion behind my first book, which is It Can't Always Be Night. It's a total of maybe, I want to say about 55, 56 pages. But, it's really more so like a poetic memoir of what I've been throughout my life. Growing up as, dealing with domestic violence and going through the foster care, dealing with parents who were addicted to crack cocaine and alcohol and different type of drugs and things like that, going through domestic violence, going through having cancer, thyroid cancer at the age 24, dealing with lupus right now, dealing with fibromyalgia right now. Still, this is year 10. I was on the phone with you the other night and had to think about it, like, wow, this is year 10 and I'm still not in remission with the thyroid cancer yet. So, going through everything that I've been through in life and still being able to be here, and is all of that is just a blessing. So to just put that into words and be able to express it in a way that's not tiring to the eyes. You ain't got to deal with 500-600 pages of what I'd have been through, and just give women like me and who've been through what I've been through, all ages, because it ranges from 5th grade up until now, to be able to say, you know what, if she could do it, then I can do it. So it's 56 pages of women empowerment. Men can be empowered by these two. It's poems, it's affirmations, it's odes to different authors that I've loved throughout my life, like Maya Angelou, Nikki Giovanni, Zora Neale Hurston, Langston Hughes. All of these people has been such an inspiration, as well as family, friends, and enemies and haters too. Y'all will get all that through this book. So it's called It Can't Always Be Night. It's on Amazon for $15. It's on Barnes and Nobles for $15. But if you get a signed copy from my website, which is youngsaveleaders.myshopify.com, you will get a chance to get a golden ticket, which is a 3-day, 2-night stay at the Westgate Resort, which me and my husband both partner with. We have a partnership with them, as well as a timeshare with them as well. So you can get a signed, autographed, personal copy from me, and that is priced at $25, and you can get that from youngsaveleaders.myshopify.com. And with Listen Linda, Miss Trivia, Inspirational Radio, was the inspiration behind that radio show. But not just that, it was really mostly the book. It was me being a talkative, personable person, and just being like, you know what? Let's get into the waiting room. Let's get into why people feel like they don't have a way out when we are all sitting in the same room waiting on God to deliver us. What are we doing at that time? Are we nervous? Are we anxious? Are we scared? Are we afraid? Because if we are, we should know that it's a light at the end of the tunnel, you know. And then with the book, here I go with the movie. I'm gonna go ahead and manifest that in Jesus' name. But with the book that's coming out, Mountains Can't Rise Without Earthquakes, which should be out mid-March, April. I'm gonna snap my finger on that. It's just a loose based biography of my life. So I'm taking these poems and I'm turning them into a story. Pray for me. But that's gonna come at a later date. But right now I'm saying yes to myself, all my dreams, all my aspirations, everything that I've wanted to do in my life. I went to that summit. She said yes to herself summit in November, and I got so inspired to just go after everything that I've ever wanted to do. So I just wrote down my list like you told me to do, Miss Visionary. Write down your list, make it plain. And I left it at the altar, and God said, go for it. So I'm going for it.
I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Well, let's snap all around here for Miss Jacqueline. Yes, I'm loving it.
Period.
So let me see this. Miss New Math, Miss Monique. Come on through here now. I mean, somebody, this is a hard job, y'all, but somebody has got to do it.
Especially.
And Miss Monique Aldridge has stepped up to the plate and said that she's going to do it. I had to see if I was off, if I was back on or not. So I was saying, Monique Aldridge, we are loving that new math. Why don't you tell us what kind of inspired you to get into this particular line of service by providing these services for people, and also how they can connect with you?
Well, I've always loved math. And yeah, math was my thing. And as I got older, I started to look around, and what I noticed was an absence of me and instructors of math. So I began to say that, representation matters. That kind of is what propelled me into really getting started with math and staying with math. So it has afforded me to do a lot of different things when it comes to math. I've consulted on a number of math board games. I've provided math consults with a lot of various things. But one thing that I am proud of is our tutoring program that's going on right now, where young folks can get tutoring virtually, which is definitely needed. You can just right now get on our website, select the time slot, and then we can work from there. There are scholarships for those in need, and it's just going really well right now. So I'm definitely proud of that.
As you should be, as you should be. So you said a website. What is the website information? So I mean, because I know there are many people who are struggling with math. They may have children preparing to do SATs or ACTs, or just trying to pull their grade averages up, prepare to get into the next grade. How can they connect with you? What website do they visit?
So our website is under construction right now, because now we're trying to add the ACT component, because that is the time. Right now we are doing ACT prep. Um, and but we do have a email address, which is msaldridge at mathsolutions.org. Definitely email me. We can tell you what the time slots are going on right now, and then we can move forward with that.
I'm loving it. I'm loving it. So definitely, ladies and gentlemen, if you are having problems with math, maybe you want to learn math, or your child needs some assistance, then you want to make sure that you go ahead and connect with Monique. Yeah, Sandra, I do too. I need to raise my hand and talk with Monique about some of this new math myself, so that I can know these systems and know how to get my things in order. And the last woman of the hour, let's go ahead and run it to us, Dr. Trivia Payne. All right, Dr. Trivia, tell us a little bit about you, and how did you start this Trivia's Inspirational Radio? We are so happy to be on this platform, so thank you.
Oh, goodness. Good evening, everyone. I was not expecting that question. I was not expecting that question. No, I would definitely say, but God. I was actually in the process of hosting my own show. Knew nothing about starting a radio station, nonetheless, even talking to people because I am very introverted. However, when God says go, you go. You don't ask questions, you just do it. And I had so many people saying I would support you doing your own station versus a show. And I'm like, I don't even know how to start a show. But I started doing research, and in my research, my first year, I was so scared to step outside of the box. I was like, I'm comfortable with two hosts. I didn't want to go over two hosts. And in my mind, initially, I was just going to play music, gospel music, and run my own blog show from my bedroom. But God said not. So before I could get started, I had a station, actual station in my church. Thank God for my husband who came alongside of me and caught the vision. And then I also went from that to last year, being my second year, to having 6 hosts, and I was still afraid. I was like, okay, we're going to try this pay what you want thing. And I realized that didn't make sense because the more I was doing that, God was saying, I'm enlarging your territory.
Mm.
And I went from just a radio station to social media. And now I'm in year 3, and I have, by the grace of God, I'm walking scared, as Chanelle says, um, because I now not only do I have 6 shows, I have 2 new shows already signed up for next month. Um, so that means that 2 days out the week I have 2 shows versus one. Um, and God is just doing it. And not only do we have the radio station, not only do we have over 10 social media platforms, including YouTube, now we have over 15 podcasts. So I'm
Mm.
just walking scared and doing what God called me to do. And that's the best way for me to put it.
I love it. I love it. But you're not allowing your fears to cripple you. So I'm loving it. Congratulations, ladies. Well, let's go ahead
Yes.
and move to the topic of discussion for this evening. So we have all been reading the upcoming book by yours truly entitled She Said Yes to Herself Unapologetically. All right.
Yes.
And so this week we are discussing the pledge and the breakup. A lot of times when we think about breakups, we think about, you know what? I'm leaving this guy or I'm leaving this girl, we think about the opposite sex or a romantic relationship. I'm going to dissolve this relationship isn't working for me. Or maybe it's a friendship that we're thinking like, you know what? I think this friendship has run its course. I got to try something new. But the breakup is not about any of those things. It's about breaking up with yourself. And so I'm going to read an excerpt from the book. And I just really want to kind of hear some feedback. What kind of frame of mind were you all in when you read this? What kind of stood out to you? I was kind of ask a few questions as we go along. So it says, the breakups aren't easy, but there are times in life when they are required. Now, I'm not talking about ending a relationship with someone else. I'm referring to any toxic character traits, tendencies, or versions of yourself. Because let's face it, there are times when we've been the problem. We willingly accepted treatment we knew we weren't worthy of. We took a backseat to our dreams and aspirations. Now we recognize it's time for us to change this narrative. She said yes to herself. How many times have you had to break up with versions of yourself? What was that like? What version of yourself did you have to break up with, and what was that like when you had that breakup?
It
I'll
was
go first.
scary.
Go ahead.
Oh,
I'm just saying because I read this that and I was like, I break up with myself daily. but
Don't get me started up in here.
but the biggest one is insecurities and stop judging, comparing myself to other people. That was probably the biggest breakup because when God puts you on a particular path and you're like, I can't, or use those terms, those, as the book says, those negative terms, it's like, who do you think you are to tell God who you can
Mm,
be? And that insecurity within myself has kept me in bondage for so long. But when I learned to let that go, I stopped comparing myself to other people who I thought were doing better things than I was. And I still have to remind myself that I'm doing really good for trivia. It's not about what somebody else is doing. So I had to break up with that insecurity and begin to walk
yeah.
in that fearfully and wonderfully made trivia.
I
I can so
love
relate
it.
with
I
that.
love it. So who else had to break up with a
I
virgin?
agree.
I
Could
can
you
relate to that
go ahead and
because
elaborate?
we grow up with these shoulds in our head, right? We should look like
Mhm.
this. Our life should look like this. We should be at this level. And then we try to aspire to be there. And when we don't, we feel a certain way. And then we feel guilty because we're not there. And, and it becomes such a weight on our shoulders and things like that. That's what I had to break up with, because that's not what God wanted for me. God wanted my life to look like this and not like that. And I had to learn that. And it was such a painful journey. And I'm still learning it as I go through life daily, you know. But yeah, I had to break up with those shoulds that has been inundated in my life since young, you know.
Girl, you said a mouthful with that one. You know what I'm saying? Should be doing it, shoulda, shoulda, shoulda. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Sandra, what about you? Was there a version of yourself that you had to break up with? And if so, why did you find it necessary for the breakup?
Oh, it was like either I change or life was just going to pass me by, basically, of the things that I wanted to happen in my life. And so when I went to college later on in life. And so I felt so like an outsider because all the people were young and, moving around and doing all these things. And here I was 33, which I thought was old at the time,
Yes,
there. But, I did what I had to do. And so then I became a director because I could be behind the scenes. I wouldn't be out front. I wouldn't be on stage. People wouldn't be looking at me, because I hated when people looked at me, because then they would be expecting something from me, and I didn't know if I could deliver that. And so when I became in a leadership role in church, I did not want to take that role, because then I would be out front and then everybody would be looking at me. And I was so afraid I was going to make mistakes. I was so afraid that people, that I wasn't, what is it? Churchy-fied enough. You know what I mean? People get up there and they do all of this bravado and all this. That was not me.
Okay.
I didn't have all of that. I just came because I'm more of a teacher than an orator, So it was hard for me to get into any kind of position of leadership, because I know that I would be now expected to lead. I would be now expected to be out front. And, but, God said, I put you in this for a reason. This is where your purpose is. And so when they had the women's group and there was nobody there to lead it, I said, I'm here, God. Here I am. And so
Amen.
That's when I began to come out of who I was and get rid of that old self of, just like every woman has, which is self-esteem issues of who they are. But what did God say that you are? That's who you are. And so when I began to embrace what God said that I was, then I could speak, because it was no longer me that was speaking, but the Holy Spirit speaking through me. So I didn't have to worry about, saying the wrong things or all of that.
I love it. I love it. Jackie, same question, but why? Why do you think breaking up with old versions of yourself is necessary?
Girl, I'm still doing it. I'm still in the waiting room, child. Look, let me tell you, all y'all are doing it, and I'm peeling them off as I go daily. So, he ain't done with me. So I done broke up with the insecure me. I done broke up with the people pleasing me.
Girl.
I done broke up with the yes, 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 ma'am, me. I broke up with the feeling out of place me, or I have to do things or this person is better than me, especially now. Like, I'm 33 now. So in my era, social media, we birthed social media, right? Before social media, what did we have? We had AOL Messenger, we had Yahoo Mail, and with the little flame at the end for the signature, and we thought we was on and popping. And then out of nowhere, here comes Tag, here comes MySpace, right? And then here comes Facebook, and and then everything else that followed along after that. And then now we are getting a visual of what everybody else claimed to be and claimed to have. But before then, everybody was content with where they were. It wasn't a facade being put out. What you saw in person is what you got. But now I could put a virtual background in the background and be in the waiting room. Or do you get what I'm saying? And you would know from here to there if this was my house. I can put a little face tune on my face and be Tech Beauty of the Week. And then soon as you catch me going down 55 and you looking on the road, be like, no, that ain't her. She catfishing people. So you really have to be careful with what you allow your mind and your brain to see on these screens and through this social media, because what it will do, it will trap you. It will put you in this place and bring you into a depression, because you think people have their people could be in a Bentley and be a bum. People could be in a Honda and be a millionaire. You have to know what is for you, what you are comfortable with, and love yourself first. And that is what I'm trying to do. And also what I'm trying to learn now. I'm in the middle. I'm in the waiting room. I ain't all the way there yet, but I speak things into existence.
Yes.
I speak affirmations daily, and the things that I speak to myself, I give to all my family and friends. So, charge it to my head and not my heart. When I sing things out into the universe, I'm not trying to shade nobody else. I'm not trying to throw nothing at you. Baby, a lot of them times I be talking to myself. And if I'm feeling this thing over here for me, and I know that I may be going through these things, I'm going to get some to Trivia. I'm going to get some to Chanelle. I'm going to get some to Miss Sandra. I'm going to get some to Miss Monique. I'm going to get some to Miss Guadalupe. I'm going to give it to the BWA. I'm going to give it to Laquita. I'm going to give it to Dr. Velma. I'm going to give it to whoever may need some, because I know that I'm not the only person. So I'm telling you, that summit, it really, really helped me in my life. So thank you guys for that. Thank you, because I'm telling you, everybody who was a part of that, she said yes to. Look, if y'all go back and do the replay of it, y'all will see me literally during the summit. I close my screen. I go to get my injections, my pain injections in my back. I get 12 of them, but like quarterly. I got my injections, and I got back on the screen. I was in so much pain, and I got back on that screen because I wasn't trying to miss it. I was literally in there like this while they was I was tuned in, and you know what? It really changed me. And I used to do a bunch of cussing. I never cared what people thought, what people felt about me. And I'm starting to try to change that as well, because even though I know other people's opinion don't matter, but my character does. Who I am does. Who I aim to be. It does. It may not matter to anybody else. I don't need anybody else's validation, but I need God's validation. And so I have to align myself with him and who he called me to be. And I had to understand that a lot of times, these church folk, like Sandra said, these church folk, they judge you so much, and you don't want to, I used to didn't want to come off as, not churchy enough for people, but I had to realize that those church people are in the same church as me. They sitting in the same row as me. Everybody is going to church for the same thing, and that's to get healed. So I need to stop worrying about what these people that's in the same row as me is saying about me, because if they was healed, they wouldn't be here. We all are here for the same God to heal us. Exactly. So that's what I had to learn, and that's what I'm still learning, not to let other people's judgments of me tell me who I am. God don't qualify the call. He don't call the qualify, he qualifies the call. And if he
Come
could
on
do it
through.
for me, he could do it for somebody else. And that's where I'm at with it.
Come on.
I'm loving it.
Yeah.
I'm loving it. I'm loving it. So, Jacqueline is referencing the She Said Yes to Herself Unapologetically summit that we had in November. And it was an
Yes.
amazing 2-day experience where people, individuals, businesses were ready to pour passionately, purposefully, and powerfully into the meeting of women, and it was just an amazing time. People came up and showed out, were willing to serve, and it was just such a beautiful experience. And so I'm right there with you. I saw Dr. V's comment about the summit as well. She said it pushed her, and it pushes me as well. Even though you may be a visionary for something, it doesn't mean that the people that you connect yourself with don't push you, because they absolutely did. The She Said Yes to Herself book, that segment that we read right there about the breakup, I thought about it because a lot of times, we like to look at what the other person did and what this person did and what happened here. And I'm at a point in my life where I'm more accepting of owning my own stuff. You know what I'm saying? Not trying to throw shade or put it off on this person or that person, but take my responsibility and be accountable for the things that I allowed and I shouldn't have, right? The times that I should have advocated for myself, but I didn't. The times that I shrunk myself and put myself into a package that didn't fit me to try to conform or to be accepted. And so, the breakup, although it's hard to do, it doesn't mean necessarily that you have to do it once. Sometimes you'll be breaking up with various versions of yourself as you continue to mature and grow. But it's an amazing process. And so, if you had to say one word of wisdom or one sentence of wisdom to your old self, what would it be? And everybody can take a stab at it. Nobody in particular, but just if you could give a word of advice to the old version of you, what would it be? Trivia.
Again, I'll start because this book spoke volumes to me. But if I had to give myself one word of advice, the old me and the current me, it would be to not worry about what others say and what others think that I'm supposed to be. Because at the end of the day, if they were me, they would still be doing what I'm doing. But they are not me. So I can only do what I can do. So I would tell the old me that be comfortable with who you are.
Mm, I love it. I love it. Sandra, you had your hand up.
Yes, I think about this a lot, what you just asked. And I just think in this scenario, if I could go back to my 16-year-old self or something and talk to that person and let her know that she doesn't have to look for love in all the wrong places. She
Mhm.
don't have to go and marry or be with a man so that he can take care of her. She can take care of herself. She's very capable of doing that with God. She doesn't have to look for some validation in a male or man or whatever just coming around and just accepting any old thing just to be with that man or keep that man or whatever. But she's able to take care of her own self. She's able
Yeah.
to look after herself. She's able to get an education, to get a job, to do all these things that she doesn't think that she's capable of doing, just because of the way she was raised and the images that she saw. But she's bigger than that. So that's what I would tell her. Don't do
I
it.
love it. I
Don't do
love it.
it, baby.
I love it. I love it. Monique.
I think that I would tell my younger self from a very young age to repeat this in the mirror daily. And I would tell her to look in the mirror and say, "You are enough.
Yes.
You are enough." And to say it until she understands that she means it, that you are enough.
I love it. That's powerful.
Amen.
Powerful. Jackie?
I would tell my younger self to stop dimming your light to
Mm.
be accepted by other people. Stop making excuses for other people's um, hatred towards you. I would tell my younger self that it's okay to be beautiful, but don't let people make that the forefront of who you are. Make it like, don't let that overshadow all the talents and everything that you possess, because that's all that people see. Because a lot of times you would think that that's all people see, so that's all you have to be, when in reality, a lot of times people see more than that in you, but they're scared because it's more than that in you, and they don't want the rest of the world to know, so they overshadow that with that. And you are more than that. You are more than your looks. You are more than your hair. You are more than things that you may feel, well, this is all I have to be, and people will like me, and that's enough. Because what you're doing is you're celebrating you, and after a while you'll start thinking that that's all you have to offer, when you can offer so much more into the
Mm.
world. So that's what I would tell them.
It's that part right there.
Amen.
I love it. I love it. I love it. That part. Um, I want to say, I know I asked everybody just kind of, read this book and give me your feedback. So from where you are right now in the book, uh, give somebody, just give us your honest opinions. And I don't want y'all saying that because y'all know me, but give
Oh,
honest
I'm
opinions about where you are. Jackie, I know you ain't gonna say nothing. She gonna say whatever come out her mouth, and that's cool, and I want her to do that too. But give me your honest impression about where you are right now in the book. If you can just share that with them, just everybody take a quick 20 seconds. I'm gonna read an excerpt when you guys are done, but go ahead and give me your impression or your breakdown of the book and who it's for. Sandra.
oh, look, here I go. Me.
Jackie.
Who going? Who's?
I
Oh,
said
she's
Sandra, but
speaking. Okay.
you. Sandra. Jackie.
Oh, I was waiting for Jack.
Oh,
Go
I'm
ahead,
sorry.
Jackie.
Sandra, look,
Oh,
okay. So y'all look. Y'all need to let me know where I'm at now. Look, okay. So right now I'm at celebrate the small wins, right? So can I go to the excerpt of it? Because I just
No,
finished.
just tell us what you think about where you at so far.
Well, where I'm at in the book is what I tell my kids all the time, and what I try to do with my kids all the time, right? But now I'm starting to do it with myself. A lot of times we feel so much pressure to be great and do great, and we got to do all this stuff at one time. And the moment that we don't do something right, or be like, oh man, I should have did this, I should have did that, and we get into this anxiety mode, right, where we feel like we gotta, it just, everything had to be perfect. But if we just take a breath, release, relax, and kind of walk away and come back to it, and just anything that we do that's a small accomplishment, celebrate that. Celebrate everything that you do that may be small, so you can gain enough self empowerment to be able to fulfill that big win, right? Because if we keep uh well achieving things, but we feel like, oh, that's just that, or that's just that, it's putting off, it's giving us a like we're lacking something when we're actually excelling, but we don't want to recognize that. We only want to recognize the big thing. We want the gold. But in order to get to the gold, we got to pass the bronze and the silver to get to the gold. Just like I put up a picture the other day, and I think I sent it to you girls too, where it says happiness is a state of mind. So you got the girl, you got the little girl. She's standing there with her number one, right? But she looking at you, Chanelle, and you got your number three, and you like, I'm number three. And look, I done made it. I'm up here. I'm with the winning team. And somebody with number one so mad at you because you just so happy, right? But they number one, but they don't want nobody, they miserable, but they don't want nobody else to be happy. Do you get what I'm saying? So celebrate those small victories like that number three. Because even though you may not be at number one yet, you at number three. Okay, you're number three, and you know if you get to number three, then the next time I'm gonna kill it. I'm gonna be a number one. But I have to first be grateful to God for the blessings that He has given me, even though it may seem small. Is leading up to that big breakthrough. Just think about it with that mindset. So that's where I'm at in the book. I don't know if I'm interpreting it right or wrong.
You on point. Let's see, Sandra, where are you and what's your impression so far?
My impression when I first read the first breakup, and then I read from fearful to fearless, I thought it was so amazing. I think I wrote you immediately after I read it. I wrote you and said, I got to give this book. I mean, because this first chapter, I mean, I've been through a lot because I'm older. I've been through all these kind of things about, fear and all this, but I have never heard it articulated the way you did it, the way you broke it down. And so that's why my sister I have a sister who's afraid of doing anything. Always. I mean, she has so much talent, but she will not move. We try to push her to move, and when she move a little bit, she's excited, and then she go back because of the fear of the same kind of fear and anxiety that I had in front of talking to people. And so what we're doing is we're going through the steps where you have to write down all your different fears and all these kinds of things. And so that's what I'm going to start now doing with her, so that she's reading the first chapter, and then we're going to go through each step of writing those things down, because I think with us doing it together, she can get through it with me. So it's going to be like a two-party deal here.
I love it.
Yeah, it's amazing. I've never done this with her. I've never done this with anybody, really. I've never wanted to, but this really has given me the impetus to just say, we're going to do this together.
I'm gonna have to have y'all on the show when y'all do y'all thing.
Oh.
I want to see what happened and what she was able to do, because that's gonna be amazing. So I love it, Sandra. All right, Monique, Where are you and what's your impression so far?
It's funny that Ms. Jacqueline touched on yeah, because in my personal journey, that's where I'm at, literally. And that's where I'm at in the book, and because I don't give myself that credit, right? I'm always not overlooking those small things, and it leaves me feeling like I don't, accomplish anything. And when I do, there are things that I'm winning at. And when I look back, and then when I do stack up those little wins, it's like, well, I'm kind of winning at this little thing, right? So yeah, it's definitely important to teach that. I don't think we teach that enough to our kids, to recognize those small wins, to to be proud of those small wins. You know, there's so many people out there in society who likes to negate those small wins and be like, oh well, we're this society now who gives participation trophies and yada yada yada. Well, hey, yeah, like he made it to the
Exactly.
end
Right.
of the season. Like,
Always,
heck,
always,
you
always
Exactly.
give
know.
my kids they small
So
wins because it motivates you to want to do more so you can get more
Exactly.
acknowledgement. I know that it works for my kids. Like instead of
yeah,
telling them what they do wrong so much, try telling them what they're
they're
doing right.
doing right.
Because if
Absolutely.
they see that they're doing right, they're gonna want to do right even more. But
Right.
if they're not being acknowledged for the right that they do, then they look for attention in other ways.
Absolutely.
They get
Absolutely. I
they go
agree.
more with whatever attention that they're getting more. And we as adults, when we get older, we tend to do that too. The girl who wasn't
Absolutely.
paid attention enough, she starts to what? Reveal more or act out
Absolutely.
more or be loud or be this and be that because I need to be seen.
Any
But if
attention is
got
better
Definitely.
than
So I
no
mean,
no
attention.
right, you
attention,
celebrate
exactly.
those small wins. You really do. So, Dr. Trivia
Absolutely.
Payne, where are you in this book, and what's your impression so far?
First and foremost, I had to remind myself that I'm not Chanelle Coleman Wesley because I was like, I don't even want to write my book. She already wrote it for me.
What?
Uh,
Girl.
when I want to tell my story, I could just give them your book. But I again, I was reminded, what God has for me is for me. What
It
God has for
is.
Chanel
You
for
got
Chanel.
this. You got
But
this.
it definitely reminded me that everything is not about a relationship with a person. It's more
Mhm.
about your relationship with God and yourself. And I have not read the whole book, but when I tell you what I've read so far, it's like every female that has ever gone through anything should read this book because at the end of the day, when I began to read that book, I was like, oh my God, look at all of these pages. But I was able to not only read the book, but I was able to engage with the book. I was able to put my thoughts on paper. And I'm not going to give away the book, but at the end of the day, I was able to really take a deeper look at me and where I am and where I came from because I used to always ask myself the question, what would I tell myself at this age and that age? And I could never answer that question. But when you asked that question tonight, I was able to emphatically say, this is what I would tell myself because I was able to see myself at those ages when I was reading those books. I mean, those chapters. And it's just been such a blessing. Just being able to just read that book and know that I'm not in my own situation alone and that there is ways to get out of it. So I'm excited. I'm really, really, really determined, as I told Jackie earlier, to just print out the pages and really interact and engage with the book because, yeah, it's amazing. The She Said Yes Summit did that book no justice. The She Said Yes talk show on Trivia's Inspiration did that book no justice. And I will also like to add, I did not expect that book to be so well written. Not that you are not a well written person,
Me.
but when I've read it, I was like, wow, this was definitely written by someone who was knowledgeable and is a scholar in that area. It was amazing.
Well, first of all, ladies, I want to say I thank each of you all for your impressions so far about She Said Yes to Herself Unapologetically. That is just about to be our time. But before we go, again, I want you to tell people who you are and what it is that you do and how they can connect with you. Because Guadalupe had to get off a little bit early, I'm going to give you information. Guadalupe Wise is on Facebook with Mama Sita's Mexican Soul. If you are in the Milwaukee or surrounding areas, you better look my girl up to get you some authentic Mexican food. And then we're gonna go Monique. Can you tell people again who you are and about Math 3, M3?
Okay, I was muted. Monique Aldrich, M3 Math Solutions. Um, and you can email us at msaldrich at m3mathsolutions.org.
I love it. Sandra Brown Linston, can you tell us again who you are and about that book, where they can pick it up?
Yes. My name is Sandra Brown Linstead. I'm a children's author. This is a young adult books that I'm writing now, and this one will be out in 2 weeks on Amazon. And this is the first one, which is already out. That's Life of a Firefly, and it is at Amazon.com, and it's also on the ebook. It's also available at Barnes and Noble. And I just want to say, Chanelle, you rock.
So do you. Thank you, gorgeous. Y'all can get me all emotional tonight. I'm not gonna let y'all do it. Author Jacqueline Cox, tell us who you are and how they can connect with you. With Listen Linda, the waiting room, and get that book. It can't always be nice.
Well, if you ain't ready to cry, you might as well go ahead and log off because you already know I'm finna make you shed some tears. First of all, you guys can find me on Facebook at Arthur Jacqueline Cox. That's JACQUILINE. You can also purchase my book. It Can't Always Be Night on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. But if you want a signed copy with either a 1 night or 3 night stay, terms and conditions apply. A signed copy, you could order it from my website, which is youngsaveleaders.myshopify.com. You can also reach me, like I say, on Facebook, on Instagram as Spiritual Sunbeam 2020, or you can catch my radio show here on Trivia's Inspirational Radio on Sundays, every Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to be here in the waiting room with people like my girl Chanelle. Sandra got a book. Monique got a book. We definitely got to talk Monique because, math ain't my favorite subject and my son kind of struggling a little bit. So you need to come on through with it because C ain't going to cut it over here. So I definitely going to connect with you.
I love it. I love it. But and last but certainly not least, Dr. T.R.I.V.I.A. Payne. I'm just gonna say this, guys. If you are looking to do a show and you want to work with an amazing woman who is a woman of God, woman of integrity, who is just branching out and doing amazing things every day. And each day that I see you, I'm saying, you go, girl, you continue to run. Then you want to go ahead and check out my girl, Dr. T.R.I.V.I.A. Payne. So Dr. T.R.I.V.I.A. Payne, please tell people how they can connect with you and how they can book themselves a show so they can get their own show so they can be on Trivia's Inspirational Radio too.
Okay, you're making me. How did you connect with Trivia's Inspirational Radio? First of all, you can go to www.triviasinspirationalradio.com. You will find our 24/7 station where you can listen to music and shows. You can also connect with our hosts, and you can go to the contacts and send me an email if you're interested in doing a show. Now, I will put this little plug out there. There are 5 more days left. I have been running a special. I'm going to extend it to all of Chanelle's guests tonight. If you inbox me on Facebook at Trivia Payne or go to www.triviasinspirationalradio.com, we can talk about this special that's going on for radio hosts and also those who want to put advertisements on, such as the amazing videos that you saw prior to this show, and you'll see it again at the end of the show.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So make sure you connect with these amazing women in businesses. And ladies, that's a wrap for us tonight. We out of here.
And we're not out of here. We waiting for the excerpt.
You ain't give us the excerpt of the book.
The time that went away. That's why I wasn't gonna read it. I was like, the time. I was watching the time, so I was counting down. Okay, so I'm gonna read like 3 sentences real quick so that we can get out of here. Let's see. My shortcomings do not define me. By the grace of God, I am redefining my mistakes. I forgive those who have wronged me, not because they are sorry or because they are seeking forgiveness. I forgive them to release myself from the torture and negativity unforgiveness brings. That's part of the pledge. I'm going to just stop right there. We don't have a lot of time, but
That's
y'all got to get
powerful.
the book. Mm-hmm.
It's powerful.
This
The book
is a story about a little girl who learned to say yes to herself unapologetically. The She Said Yes to Herself Unapologetically platform is here to motivate, encourage, and empower you.
Opinions not needed, 'cause facts they feel better, and it saved me.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a drill. It's the B.O.B. bounce. And it's about to get real. Let's go. It's about to get real. Let's go. It's about to get real. It's about to get It's about to get real. All my blessed people. Report to the dance floor. All my blessed people. Report to the dance floor. All my blessed people. Report to the dance floor.
I don't know it. What you about to learn?
All my blessed people. Report to the dance floor. All my blessed people. Report to the dance floor. All my blessed people. Report to the dance floor. Step, 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 step up.